with your industry or audience through a blog. But it needs to be both memorable and valuable. You need to be willing to shake things up and leave them wanting more. You can't gain visibility if you're vanilla or boring. Here's an example, Gary Vaynerchuk. Now, Gary Vaynerchuk is a multi-millionaire wine company owner. Okay, so he's actually a wine. I would say he's got one of the top wine selling websites in the world, if not the top. Okay, I think it's called Wine Library. All right, now here's an interesting thing. Okay, so his business is wine. Okay, but one of the ways that he brands himself, and one of the ways that he gets notoriety and gets himself out there to his perfect customer is on his blog. He makes his blog very visible, okay, and he's extremely memorable and provides tons of value. So that's how it can work for you. And he has a multi eight-figure business in the wine industry. And a lot of it has to do from the visibility of his blog, okay? So again, top 1% visibility strategies. Start a compelling and influential blog on the internet. Number 2 is publish a report or white paper for your industry or cause, okay? Now this technique has been employed by some of the top entrepreneurs in the world. Rich Sefrin is an example of someone who has used report releases to gain massive visibility and exposure for himself in the business world. Now here you can see on one of his websites his Internet Business Manifesto that has brought him millions upon millions worth of revenue into his business, all because of massive visibility from a report that probably took him just a few weeks to write. Now what you need to know is tons of average folks have done the same in their own industry or niche, and the results are incredible. In just a little bit, I'm going to show you how to put this strategy on absolute steroids. All right, and finally, another way the top 1% gain massive visibility quickly is to organize an online or offline event. Now, a prime example of this is my student and client, Ruth Stern, who I mentioned earlier. Now, she is constantly hosting events and workshops for her audience in the emotional freedom technique space and is absolutely crushing it as a result. You'd be amazed at the benefits you reap for yourself simply by bringing people together, whether online or offline, even if it's just informally to meet, learn, and discuss things that are important to your industry or cause. As the committed facilitator at the center of the cause, you gain massive visibility, which then creates opportunity that catapults you up the wealth ladder. Your third step for creating wealth, write this down, is to establish affinity. This one is so important, but most people don't understand what it really means or how powerful and essential it is. Affinity has a two-part definition, and this is not by accident. Number 1, a spontaneous or natural liking for someone or something. Number 2 is a similarity of characteristics suggesting a relationship. So think about that for a moment. Your job is to get your industry, niche, or audience to spontaneously, naturally like you. Well, also making them feel like they have a relationship with you. So how do you do that? How exactly do you do that? Well, notice the words, similarity of characteristics, in the second part of the definition. It turns out this is the key to creating true affinity. Here's what I mean by that. To create true affinity with your industry or audience, it is absolutely essential and critical that you establish both rapport and relevance in every single communication you have with them. And I do mean every communication. Now, more specifically, what this means is they need to feel like they know you, like they have a sense of who you are as a person and what you're all about. They also need to feel like you know them. They need to feel that you truly understand them, their situation, their wants, and their needs. And most importantly, that you care about all of those things. The question is, how do you go about achieving this? Well, here are just a few of the top 1% affinity strategies I use and my students and clients use on a regular basis. First, be willing to tell your story. I can't emphasize enough how important this is for garnering a listening from your audience, where they truly feel like they know you. So this is one of my students and clients, Al Bargan. Okay, this is a great example of telling your story. Okay, now his website's called Cheeseburger Abs, and he's built his presence around his story of maintaining a six-pack while still being able to eat and enjoy cheeseburgers, etc. It's his story. And not only is it his story, but it's a very compelling story. Okay? The second affinity strategy is to be sure and infuse your personality into your business or mission. Now, a lot of people make the big mistake of treating their business as a set of logistics, very tactical and technical and this and that, leaving out the essential element of authentic human connection. A lot of people do this especially on the internet, because on the internet you can be so disconnected across the world, behind a computer, in an email, okay? Now another one of my students, Gabby Taub. I mean, just look at her picture. I mean, you want to talk about infusing personality into your business, just look at her picture at the top left. Now think about this carefully, okay? Most people read, I would hope all people read from the left to the right. So when someone comes, now Gabby knew, and we coached her, she knew that when someone came to her website, the first thing they would do is start at the top left and read from the left to the right. So what's the first thing she has in the top left? Her. Absolutely beautiful, stunning picture of herself with this amazing smile. So right from the start, right at the first look that any person's eyes will go to on this website, she has infused her personality into her business and her mission, and it has absolutely skyrocketed her career. She was a technical dunce and knew nothing about making money online or anything, but because of doing all the top 1% affinity strategies, and especially infusing her personality, she's got massive success and her revenue has skyrocketed. The last affinity strategy I'll touch on for now is you need to fully dedicate your business or mission to the stories of your customers, clients, or followers. Now, this might be the single greatest revenue generation strategy that exists in today's economy. Now, I always make it a point to feature the success of my students, as well as create a medium through which to connect with them every week. All right, this keeps me in the conversation of my customers and clients rather than being removed from it, which is a mistake a lot of business owners make, etc. I had a friend one time that had 90,000 customers. 90,000 customers, okay? 90,000 people he had already established the know, like, trust factor with. And we asked him in a mastermind one time, how many times had he emailed them since they became a customer? His answer was 0. All he had ever emailed them was a confirmation of their order. That is absolutely the wrong thing to do. So I want to publicly thank him right now. He knows who he is. His first name is Dwayne, for showing us all what not to do, okay? But you have to stay in constant communication and constant connection with your people, okay? That one single strategy is probably the #1 biggest strategy, okay? Now, the fourth step for creating wealth, remember to write these down, is to establish trust. To me, the word trust has become a bit cliche, especially online in the digital marketplace. But approaching it right will reap you massive rewards. And I have great news about that. There's only one main thing you need to do in order to establish trust within your chosen industry or niche. Simply put, you need to deliver results to them. That's it. You need to commit yourself to helping them solve their greatest want or problem through your products, services, or information. Now, I know for a fact that this is a passion for many of you listening. For those of you who already own a business, you are intent on delivering the highest quality product or service to your customers and making sure they are raving fans. For those of you who are just getting started, you're probably most excited about the possibility of serving a specific group of folks and delivering exceptional value to them in the form of products, services, ideas, or information. But once again, the question arises, how do you put yourself in a position to serve the most number of your ideal customers? This really is the million-dollar question I struggled with for a long time. You're about to get the answer as well as the path for achieving it now instead of later. Okay? All right, your final step for creating wealth, and this is where the answer begins to fully reveal itself, is to establish authority. Now, let me be very clear that in today's economy, with all the choices people have and the noise in the marketplace, I mean, people see like 10,000 marketing messages a day. Authority represents your ticket to the life and income you want. Now, there's a lot of misconception and negative connotation about what authority means in the context of business. To establish authority in your chosen industry or niche is to have a respected voice in your market that your audience responds to. Okay? So you can't be full of hype. You can't sound like a used car salesman. Okay? You got to have a respected voice, a recognizable voice in your market that your audience responds to, and maybe not necessarily recognizable, but a respected one. Okay. You want to garner immediate credibility and influence within your chosen field. Now, there's lots of different ways to do that. I'm about to show you a way that you can do that literally overnight. But it's very important that you garner immediate credibility and influence within your chosen field. Like I said, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. You need to create a magnetic desire for people to do business with you, okay, and give you money. So you have to speak right into their core wants, needs, and desires. If you do that, you will become magnetic. You will seem like to them the solution for any issue or problem that they have, and they will swarm you and give you tons of money for you to help them solve their problem. Okay, that's being magnetic. You have to create that magnetic desire. Like I said, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Okay, it's pretty simple. Now here's an example. Okay, an example is Dave Ramsey. Okay, Dave Ramsey is an authority. Let's look at all the. Okay, he has a respected voice. I mean, he's on the radio. A lot of people know who he is, etc. Right? Okay, and you don't have to. Don't worry about not being as big as Dave Ramsey right off the bat. Okay, Dave Ramsey is way more popular and way more well-known than me, and I have a multi-million-dollar business. Okay, garner immediate credibility and influence. Well, he's definitely done that. I'm not sure how quick it was, but there you go. Created a magnetic desire. He definitely has created a magnetic desire. He's pretty much the go-to guy for what he does. A lot of it's about debt and saving money and getting out of debt and credit repair and things like that. Okay. The bottom line is authority represents your ultimate ticket to creating the highest level of business success where money and freedom are natural byproducts. Now think about that for a moment. How happy and content would you be if money and freedom were simply byproducts of your efforts rather than the stress-filled rabbit that you are constantly chasing? All right? Now, you have to remember, I've been there. Okay, I've been there. I was born broke, just like everyone else. I had college debt. I got a JOB, okay, which a lot of people think stands for just over broke. I've been laid off 3. Actually, I need to correct that. I was laid off 4 times in 3 years. I got very, very overweight, massive amounts of debt. Okay, so I've been there. I've been where some of you are. And those of you that are already successful, you may be at a different level of broke. You may be at a different level of massive debt and things like that. Okay, and maybe you aren't. It doesn't really matter. All I know is you want to change. And all I want you to know is that I've been there. Okay? But what I kind of never have predicted was all it took was one thing. And you can take the one step. Okay? This one thing. Now, remember the quiz from earlier. I briefly introduced you to Wayne and told you in the past handful of years he's created, produced, and hosted his own television show on a major cable TV station. He was a vice presidential nominee for a major U.S. political party. Okay, he's been frequent frequently on-air contributor for several